Okay, let's try to film this again. Good afternoon. Happy Valentine's Day. Welcome to Appalachia's Homestead. If you all don't mind, I'm just going to sit here on this beautiful Valentine's Day. It is actually gorgeous outside, and unfortunately, I am under the weather. So I thought I would just come to you real quick for a video, let you know that there may be a delay on videos. Maybe, it depends on how I do. I'm finally, unfortunately, getting a fever. I went all day and I was like, I don't have a fever. I don't have a fever. I don't have a sore throat. So my husband came home last week, no problems, and he was off on Friday, and he was like Friday morning, which by the way, welcome back to the channel. And happy Valentine's Day. We'll get to that. And he was like, my throat is sore. My throat is sore. And then within a couple of hours, he just literally like fell off the planet. I mean, it didn't take long at all, right? So here we are. So I started doing what I call granny witching him. You know, when we say that, for those of you that don't know what a granny witch is, it's typically something you would hear of or know of in Appalachia. And it would be somebody with a, quote, Celtic style background mixed with Native American heritage. These women, not necessarily, it may not even necessarily be that either or were in their bloodlines, but these were medicinal things that they did. You know what I'm saying? A lot of it's just herbal things and things that they would do. So they called it a granny witch. Men were granny witches too. It wasn't just women. I've told you before that I do feel that my great-great-grandfather had some skills I think he learned from his mother, according to stories that I've been told of things that he could do. That's my suspicion, because it's not normal. That it's not always that you hear of somebody, you know, being able to dissolve tonsils with people. Maybe they use turpentine, maybe they use cayenne pepper, I don't really know, to remove tonsils from people without surgery. So, you know, he learned some things, as I'm told, in North Carolina. He was born in Blount County. So, you know, I'm trying to learn things, but I kind of mix up things. I don't just necessarily use herbs or herbal things. And of course, I can't show you all the things that I use or all the things that I do, as you know as well as I, but some of the basic things. So I've been doing these things for several days, and I kind of let up over the last two because James was getting better. And of course, I didn't get sick immediately or even within the first 2 to 3 days. I was like, we're good, we're good. My sons are not sick. But, I mean, when you sleep in the same bed with somebody, at some point, your body's going to give in, right? Which, he came home today. He actually went back to work. I was like, dang it, he got better. He broke his fever 2 days ago. He took another day off to, you know, sort of rest, chill, make sure he was okay, nothing weird, doing great. He's got a little congestion, but he went back to work. But I got all my little, he's been so sweet. He came home at lunchtime, and he and Gabriel are going to go pick up dinner. He said, you are not cooking. I'm not allowing that. I don't care if we just go get something simple or a pizza. You're not cooking. So that's where they are. So the house is kind of quiet. So I did get up this morning. I knew I was getting sick yesterday. I kept feeling like that weird, like a scratch tickle in my throat. He started with an actual sore throat. He complained a lot about it. So I don't know, you know, I think this is more flu-like. It does not feel anything like when we had the vid 2 years ago at all. I do not think it's that. I think it's more of a traditional virus, you know, with some body aches. Mine actually started with a tickle and a little bit of a cough. No headache, no fever, no vomiting, nothing like that yesterday. Nothing. I was able to make a video, and I thought, I'm going to watch this. And then by late last night, I could feel it in my chest. It actually started in my chest, which is really strange because a lot of times things start up here and then they move down here. So anyway, so I'm back on board with doing all the things, and I have fire cider. Feel free to comment down below some of the things that works for you. I know a lot of you like garlic and fermented garlic and honey. I cannot do that. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people enjoy that. I think it's so difficult to take. I can take a garlic clove and kind of put it on the spoon, cut it up, and then put the honey on it. And I know you should ferment it, but I just cannot do it, y'all. I've tried. I've done it several times over the years. I can't do it. I'm sorry. It's the one thing. I will do it if I have to, but okay, it's just really bad for me. fire cider. So I do, some folks of you will say, what about fire cider? So I do have a fire cider ready to go. And you can already see I've been using it. Shaboom, shaboom. I use oil of oregano. I think that is awesome. Now I have elderberry caplets, but I also have elderberry syrup. And I also have frozen elderberry syrup in my freezer. So I just sat this here because it's convenient for me to show you. So I always mix in elderberry. I keep all of it. I have the gummies. I have these. I grow a ton of elderberry. So elderberry works well for me. Colloidal silver, of course. No, I do not make my own. I know that some of you will say make your own. I get it. Just haven't gotten there. There's certain things that every homesteader or person does or is their expertise, and then some folks don't do. I mean, I'm more traditionally outside, milking and doing things outside. You might crochet. I'm not, as you know, I stink at that. And so there's things that, you can still add. So there's that. I want to say, I do want to show you this. This is Harney and Sons peppermint tea. Somebody before Christmas sent me the biggest box of all kinds of different teas by this company. I don't know who sent it, and I've said it before. I'm like, thank you. Oh my, it freaked me out because I've never got a box that big full of goodies like that. And I'm going to show you, this is the best peppermint tea that I have ever had. James, who is he's kind of picky. And he was blown away by this tea. He actually asked for it when he was sick. He actually said, I think it's working. I think it kind of helped me. And I'm like, yes, it does, doesn't it? Peppermint's good. So there's other teas. You can make ginger tea. I also have marshmallow root. I keep that. I bought that. I've had that. Of course, I do the traditional Mucinex. This was my lifesaver, one of my main lifesavers during the vid. And then I've got vitamin C, D. Then you talk about zinc. You talk about quercetin, depending on what you're taking. And there's a couple of other things that I do, So what do you do? So I will tell you, my symptoms are different than James. We're kind of the same, but it started out different. Mine started out late yesterday, throat. No, excuse me. It was like a tickle in my throat. It wasn't sore. My throat is not sore. I'm fighting to keep my voice, but my throat is not sore. But the congestion actually started down in my chest. So I'm really having to watch that. I do have a nebulizer and things that go with that. I try not to use those things unless I have to. Not to get too far off the track, but after I had my first son, back in 2001 when he was a baby, I got bronchitis. And I ended up coughing so hard, so bad, that I actually ended up popping some alveolar sacs in my lungs, and I had to go to the emergency room because it felt like somebody was stabbing me. And they were like, what have you done? I'm like, I haven't done anything. And the sad thing is, you know where I was? So I thought I'd gotten better, and I was better, and we went to Biltmore. We were at Biltmore long ago. This is like 24 years ago, y'all. 24 years ago. And we had to come home. And James had to take me to the emergency room because I felt like somebody was I was like, I didn't know what was going on. And I was only, 24 years old, right? So they were like, have you been in a car wreck? Have you, what have you done? Has somebody hit you in the chest really hard? Have you been have you played basketball? And I'm like, no. And they said, have you been sick? And I went, yes, I've gotten over. And they said, oh. So they did the x-rays. They had to put me on morphine. They do all this stuff. So I try to be careful with that. I'm not as little and as thin and frail as I was back in my 20s. Most women aren't. But you have to watch that. So there's that. But my husband came home today at lunch, and he was like, you've done all this stuff. You've gotten your exercise in. I want you to go take your shower. I want you to go to bed. So I'm going to milk this evening. That's the only thing I'm going to do. And yes, I have a fever. I did take a Tylenol. I'm not going to lie to you. I did take a Tylenol. Because, I just don't think that we should ignore some of the things that we can have when we are really, really sick. And I will tell you right now, too. You know what I had for lunch? Chicken noodle soup. And it wasn't mine. And it was in a can. And I drank it and ate it. And, I don't care. Because I don't feel good. And you should do what works for you. So just always know that there's all kinds of different options. And you should have all of these options available to you because you don't know how your symptoms are going to roll. This is part of the whole preparedness thing. But my sweetheart came home, and he got me beautiful flowers, and he went and got me a fruit dish full of fresh fruit and oranges and my mandarins. I love mandarins. And he already had this card. He's like, don't look at your Valentine card. We were so crazy and corny that when we went to Ollie's, remember I have a video on Ollie's from like a week and a half ago or something, and he was with me, and he got me a Valentine's card. While we were there together, he's like, I'm going to get you up your Patara, don't look. So there was that. And then I got my traditional chocolate. So he's been a total sweetheart. So he's come home. He and Gabriel are going to run an errand or two, and they're going to bring home dinner, because he was like, ooh. He was like, you're not cooking. You're not cooking. You're just not. So he's done the laundry. He's taking care of the dogs and cats. He will do all the barn chores while I at least milk. I've got to milk Salt. I should have already done it by now. So she's waiting. So I've got to get up there as soon as he's back. But I'm just saying, there's different options for you. You know, I know a lot of times when we talk about these things, people say, oh, don't do this, you should do that. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. But you never know how you or someone in your family is going to roll. And my goal is to, if you know it's something that you don't go outside of your home to get medical attention for because you don't think you need to, you feel like you can beat it or treat it like we've done, then, you know, you have to have options. You have to have options. And there's a lot more options here. I'm just not necessarily showing them, but definitely. So what do you do when you're sick? What are the things that work best for you? I will tell you the things that I find that work best for me are the ginger and the teas. The fire cider is very strong. It is very strong. So, you know, I think it works really well. Elderberry works well for me. Elderberry, oregano. And I will tell you this. I tell you that Horehound in your cough syrup. I do not have my cough syrup down here. I have a video on it. My cough is not that bad. I've been able to really work and move things out so far. So there's that. But I do keep some Mucinex or generic Mucinex on the shelf. So there's a lot going on right now today. And I've been kind of looking at social media. And I'm really heartbroken at a couple of things. I do want to say to you, I just appreciate your kindness yesterday on my video. I did get a little emotional. There's a lot to be emotional about right now. And especially if you think you don't feel good. You know, it's so funny because somebody just said, that girl must be getting sick. Look at her crying. But I wasn't sure. But by about midnight last night, I was pretty confident that that's where we were headed. But I wanted to drop in and wish you a happy Valentine's Day and to rejoice with you in terms of our friendship together and us communicating together. There's just some crazy things going on in the news. I've been able to look at a couple things for a few minutes. I don't know who these churches are that are supposedly kicking Bibles. I don't know if you've seen that. I don't even, from what little bit I was able to pay attention to, was it even really a real Bible? Doesn't matter. Does that matter? I mean, James pulled up and I told him, he was like, I said, no, they're saying it may not be a real Bible. He said, does that really matter? I mean, it floored him. I think this church supposedly has been doing this for a long time. I don't know. I don't know if you've seen that article, but I don't know who in their right mind. I'm sorry if that offends you. I don't really care if it offends you because I'm offended that you're kicking Bibles on your altar. Sorry. So if I'm offending you by talking about it, well, you offended me by your actions in your church. I don't know what the meaning behind it is. I don't really care. I think that is in poor taste, and I think that it's not whatever point you're trying to make. I do think that you could probably make it another way. Might want to rethink that. We just have to be careful of who we spend our time with, folks, and where we go and what we're listening to, because the churches in America are suffering. I feel a lot of churches, I hear from you guys all the time saying my pastor doesn't talk about what's going on. My pastor doesn't talk about preparedness. My pastor's not doing this. And I'm like, what church is this? I mean, I can't, I sound a little blunt right now because like I said, I have a fever. So I don't know how that's tolerable. And I think a lot of these things are going to come to a head at some point where people are finally going to say, this is not tolerable. And this is why it's important for you to be prepared, whether it's for your medicine cabinet, whether it's items for your pets, and all of these things, because it's just all going to come to a head one day. Absolutely. So I'm going to end the video, and I'm going to switch the laundry and take a few more of these items, and I'm drinking a ton of water. And, you know, I'll be all right in a day or two, totally confident, watching everything, being smart. And tell me if you've had something like this. Like I said, James started with a sore throat, and then he moved to chills and body ache. I started with, like I said, scratchy, and then chest congestion. And I will tell you, my lower back and my knees, oh my gosh, they hurt so bad this morning. But like I said, I've done the things, I am eating, and I made myself get up and get moving some. Then I've showered and laid down for a bit and relaxed for a couple of hours, and now I'm going to move again, and I'll nibble on dinner. It's just you got to walk through it. But I want to thank you for being here, and I love you guys, and I'm praying for you. You say a little prayer for me. I don't think it'd hurt for me to get better sooner. That'd be great. So maybe God wants me to rest for a couple of days. I mean, I always look at things like that. You know, it's like this. I've always told you this, and I'll break. It's like when you're driving or whatever, and somebody in front of you is going really slow. Don't get frustrated. God's slowing you down for something. God's slowing me down for something right now, okay? House is straight. Husband's great. Happy Valentine's. Everybody's beautiful. So, you know, we just have to kind of kick back. So what do you do? What are you doing? Happy Valentine's Day. I love you. Sending lots of love to you. And like I just want to put out there, and we need to continue to do this. The more that we see things dismissing is a nice way to put it. The love of God, the more that we need to stand up for it. So while my husband's love for me and cute things, just to be a sweetheart, is so precious, the ultimate love was given to us, given to me and given to you on the cross. Remember that. I love you. Thank you so much. I'll take care of myself. I know my mamas are going to be on me. I know. I'm chilling. James has got me. I love you. Maybe I'll see you tomorrow. Maybe. We'll see. Like, subscribe, and share. Love you. We'll see you on the next video.